Welcome back to American Medicine Today. I'm Ethan Euchre, and I'm here with Dr. Bonati. How you doing, Doc?
How are you?
I am well. And today we're going to talk about a big part of the platform of the Democrats heading into the 2020 election is gun control. Former VP Joe Biden has all kinds of things he wants to do to take away our gun rights and things like that. A lot of people, though, who are opponents, myself, you included, are saying we need to look at socialist countries like Venezuela as an example of why that's a bad idea.
You need to understand what socialism is. The people really don't understand what is happening in the transition of a capitalistic country to try to become a socialistic country. When you become a socialistic country, the first thing that you need to do is you need to destroy certain behaviors of the population.
Okay.
One of the behaviors of the population is gun control. As you said, look what happened with Venezuela. Venezuela was a tremendous, powerful country on the 50s,
big
on the
oil
60s.
Company, right? Wealthy.
And everybody was extremely wealthy. And was a very, very much a competition with major rich countries in the world, just that small, it's not too small, but the medium-sized country. The problem is when you transition towards a socialistic country, you need to understand who is the boss and who is the slave.
Mm-hmm. The haves and the have-nots.
Exactly.
Yes.
And really, the socialist mind is create a slavery. And what they do, they remove anything that can be dangerous to themselves. And one of the things that is dangerous to themselves is a population. The second is armed population. The other one is a cultural population, a lot of middle-class people. And the other thing is healthcare. Any country who is rich is a threat to a socialistic country or socialistic mind, because the rich country creates large amount of middle class. And a rich middle class is not going to give you their life just only because you want to be a communist. Mm-hmm. So they're going to fight because they want to support their family in good economical conditions. They want to educate their children in a good way so they can be successful. All these things are capitalism.
Well, the middle class has always been the engine of capitalism.
Exactly.
You need a big, active, working middle class in order to generate and keep the economy going.
Exactly. But that's important thing. That middle class is the nightmare for socialism. So it's important to know that middle class is not going to allow.
They're not going to vote socialist.
They're not going to vote socialist.
Of course not.
Okay. And then the next thing that happens is the socialism will create an indoctrination of the kids. So you start to see those millennials today. They are weak. They are irresponsible. Nobody wants to hire them. Mm-hmm. They are in problems in the schools. Is the exposure to a misbehavior created on the schools by teachers that they are ill prepared, that usually the teacher that is on the depending on the governmental pay is a teacher who's very unhappy. Mm-hmm. And that teacher who's very unhappy transferred to the kids their behavior, the resentment. Mm-hmm. And then they look at the people who is doing well like they don't deserve that.
That's the enemy.
That's the enemy. Mm-hmm. So they teach the kids to don't be the successful person, mm-hmm. so they can be at the same level as them. That is socialism. Going back to the situation of the gun control is a problem. And the problem with the gun control is every city who has a large laws of gun control, there are cities that they have more crime in United States today.
It's actually more dangerous to live
It's more dangerous to live there.
Gun-free areas.
Because the guns are in the hands of the people who really shouldn't have the gun. Is the bad people who has the guns, and the people who is normal cannot correct.
Law-abiding citizens aren't going to have guns if they're illegal. The only ones that will, right, are the ones that'll go find that on the black market.
Thank you for guiding me. That's what I was trying to say.
Which is breaking the law, you know.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter if there's laws in place to keep people. It just goes back to the drug example, you know. Drugs, you're not supposed to be able to go get cocaine, but people do, you know. We're not doing that. We're law-abiding citizens. Is it still out there for people to get? Of course. So how effective are these laws anyways?
Unfortunately, all these socialistic minds, they are very much ligated with a control of population. And when you control a population, you really have a tyrannic type of a government. Mm-hmm. And in Venezuela, that's what happened. They went to the people and they offered them a law type of a change on the law saying, guns are bad, let's go ahead and remove all these guns because we have so much crime. That was not true anyway. And then what they did is they forced the people to obey the law.
And this is in Venezuela?
In Venezuela.
Right.
And 37 people gave the guns by itself. The rest of the population, they took the guns by force.
By force, yeah. And what you're referring to is back in 2012, there was a law passed by the Venezuelan Assembly that basically dictated that guns were now illegal. You cannot have them.
Yeah.
So they're disarming the population. But they tried to do an amnesty program, like you were mentioning, and only 37 people, as you said, voluntarily said, here, you can have my gun. The government said, well, there's a ton of guns still out there. They came in by force, took 12,500 of those weapons. So now you have a population.
It's more than that, because 20 million population. Right. But the ones that they remove, they're removed by force.
Right.
Okay. Now the problem with that is that you understand now that the uprising that they have in 2017, you saw the police with guns shooting people and killing people, and you saw the population throwing stones.
Right.
But that's the difference. That's exactly what they want. They want to totally unarm population that they cannot uprise against them and remove them from the government. This is exactly the problem that is right now in Venezuela. And that's why they cannot throw the government, because they don't have the guns back.
Right.
And when they try to do that in the United States, this law is going to go back and going to be revised by the higher court. But the problem is the higher court knows very well that the control of the gun means control of the population. Right. And control of the population means the demise of the United States as a defending, self-defense country.
Which has always been the basis of our Constitution.
Exactly.
Back to the Founding Fathers. The Second Amendment, right to bear arms, is really for obviously home protection, but also to defend ourselves. We overthrew the British Empire to become the United States. And it's because we had a population that was armed. Exactly. So that's the Founding Fathers say that. Why would we want to change that? Why did the socialists in this country want to change that?
Well, the problem with the socialists, as I told you before, they are educated, poorly educated in the school. Look at...
guns are bad.
Yeah, that's what they are being taught. Right. Guns are bad. Look what happened with this. But you know something, they hide the reality. For example, you have 20 people that is pretty bad, is being killed in one of these massive shooting there. But then they forgot totally that double than that one happens in a weekend in Chicago.
Chicago, I know.
Okay, and nobody say anything about.
Right.
So is a total lack of really responsible information to the country. But the only way to retrain the population is go back on the media and create media that's going to fight the left media and conservative media. Because right now we don't have a conservative media. We don't have information, and the people is being misinformed. That misinformation is going to that group that somebody said, the person who created the Obamacare, the rules for Obamacare, said the stupidity of the American voter. And I thought it was very insulting. When I start to see right now that you have 50% of the population still thinking that the Democrats are okay,
Oh, yeah.
okay, then I go and I say, they're stupid.
Well, I think, Doc, you have some very valid points. I agree with all of them. What we really need to do is make sure that the socialists stay out of power, we stay in power, in control, and retain the rights that the citizens have had ever since this became a country. Agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you for watching American Medicine Today. We'll see you next week.